Hello everyone, welcome to the 24 Hours News Channel. U.S. President Joe Biden appeared to forget Scott Morrison's name while announcing America and Britain will help Australia build a nuclear-powered submarine fleet. The Prime Minister joined Mr. Biden and British PM Boris Johnson in a historic three-way press conference to unveil the UK-US alliance to counter the worrying rise of China in the Pacific. But Mr. Biden seemed lost recalling his Australian PM's name as he thanked the other two leaders who spoke before him. "Thank you, Boris, and I want to thank," he began, before an awkward pause in which he turned and pointed to the screen with Mr. Morrison's smiling face. "That fella down under, thank you very much pal, appreciate it Mr. Prime Minister," he continued. Media commentators were quick to point out the awkward gaffe, a very political announcement, Today Show host Carl Stefanovich said after the press conference was aired live. "But that fella from down under, I mean totally orcs." 9 political editor Chris Ullman replied, almost as awkward as the acronym AUKUS, Australia, United Kingdom and United States. Americans, Australians, and Britons quickly flocked to social media to have a chuckle at the bizarre moment. "Just a public speaking tip, if you're going to mention someone by name write it down," one American woman tweeted. "How did you not remember the Prime Minister's name? That was honestly so embarrassing." British journalist Graham Demianic wrote, "Biden calls the Australian Prime Minister that fella down under and tosses in a thank you very much, pal. I'm definitely a thanks, mate kind of guy if I forget someone's name." AUKUS getting off to a great start with Biden not knowing Scott Morrison's name, another wrote. "The deal will mean Australia will walk away from its controversial deal to spend up to $90 billion buying French diesel-powered submarines. This is the first time Australia has embraced nuclear power after decades of debate, and the first time the US and UK have shared the nuclear submarine technology with another nation." Mr. Morrison said that Australia has no plans to acquire nuclear weapons or build its own nuclear power capabilities. Australia has at least 40% of the world's uranium supplies and the new submarine deal could pave the way for the country to embrace nuclear power to drastically reduce carbon emissions. The move towards a nuclear Australia has been described as China's worst nightmare in a strategic bid to counter its influence in the region, especially in the South China Sea. "Our world is becoming more complex, especially here in our region, the Indo-Pacific. This affects us all. The future of the Indo-Pacific will impact all our futures," Mr. Morrison said. "To meet these challenges, to help deliver the security and stability our region needs, we must now take our partnership to a new level. So AUKUS is born, a partnership where our technology, our scientists, our industry, our defense forces, are all working together to deliver a safer and more secure region that ultimately benefits all." Mr. Morrison said the submarines would be built in Adelaide in cooperation with the US and the UK. Thursday's announcement came just days before Mr. Morrison travels to Washington for the first in-person summit of the 4 Quad nations, Australia, US, Japan, and India. In March, Biden accidentally referred to Vice President Kamala Harris as President Harris. The gaffe occurred during a press conference on Thursday, during which he lauded his administration for being close to meeting the goal of 100 million COVID-19 vaccine doses in his first 100 days in office. Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona not long ago, one of the nurses on that tour injecting people, giving vaccinations, said that each shot was like administering a dose of hope, Biden said. Harris was standing behind Biden as the president carried on with his speech, but did not correct himself. Forgot name of Secretary of Defense. In a speech on March 9, Biden seemed to fumble with his words and forget the name of his Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. I want to thank the former general, I keep calling him General.